All right, for this video, we're going to be installing a Sense whole home energy monitor in this electric panel. Let's get started.
The first thing I wanted to do was actually show what a Sense is and how much it costs. So a Sense is a whole home energy monitor that's installed on your electric panel, and it can monitor all of your power usage on that panel. It also has some machine learning slash AI type stuff to identify loads that are in your house. So far, mine's been able to identify a couple of my AC units, a fridge or two, the microwave, and stuff like that. But through time, it should be able to identify a lot more of what's in my house. There are three main options that they list here on their website. The base one is just the normal Sense, which is just the CTs that you put on just your one panel. The model that I will be installing and the one that I have is the Sense Solar. And the reason why this is important is because it has dedicated CTs for your solar. So you're able to actually separate those two out in the app. So you can purchase it here on sense.com on their website. You can also purchase it on Amazon. The prices are the same. You can also check out some of the reviews for that. But do keep in mind they do run promos a couple times a year. Here's a website that I use, Camel, and you can actually see that a few times it's dipped definitely below $290 and as low as $259 earlier this May.
Relatively simple, comes out of the box. This is a detachable antenna. Comes with a cable that you can actually punch through the bottom or side of the panel if you're getting poor Wi-Fi signal inside the panel itself. I didn't have a need for that. I have pretty strong Wi-Fi all across my property. There's three main ports on at least this model. This is the solar model. It has the power input, which is going to be monitoring your voltage. It actually connects to its own dedicated breaker. The middle one is actually for your solar clamps that will actually connect onto the solar wires coming in from your solar system. And the last one are going to be your main CT clamps, and those are going to go on your actual main panel. A few requirements to get this installed. You need to have an empty breaker space. So this is what my panel looks like here. I need to create some extra space here, so you can just remove these panels. I recommend using pliers, or you can just wiggle them back and forth, and they actually just pop off like that. There you go. So since I removed two, I have that space now to install this own dedicated breaker. It has to be a 2-pole breaker because it does monitor voltage on both phases of your house. So I already have the neutral connected. The next thing I'm going to do is actually just connect these two hots to this breaker and install this breaker in the off position. You can use pretty much any size breaker for this. However, I chose the smallest one I could find just because this wire is pretty thin. Just in case something were to happen, at least I'm not going to be frying these wires too much. Though these wires are probably a little thin even for the 15 amp 2-pole breaker that I have here. It is not recommended to use another breaker already installed in the system. Electrically that may work, however, from an NEC from a code point of view, I don't know if that's allowed. I'm not an electrician. However, anytime that device turns on, you actually may see more voltage fluctuations, and it may mess up the reading itself. All right, there's the breaker install. So the next things I'm going to want to do is install these main clamps here. I have the two main lugs. The order doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you approach this in a safe manner. Again, if you feel uncomfortable, hire a professional to do this part. Once those are connected, route the wires on either side of the panel. It does come with some extra cable, just because all breaker panels are kind of different sizes. So what I usually do is I just take a little bit of extra and just kind of push it towards the bottom. The next thing I'm going to route are my dedicated solar monitors. So my solar comes in from the right side on the right top up here. So I'm going to take these two and connect them just on either side of the cable. Once I'm done, I'll show a close-up of all this routed and what it looks like for me. You know what? I think I'm actually going to move these up here. Get them a little bit more out of the way of where I'm planning on putting the actual monitor itself. These solar clips do not have locking mechanisms, but the main CTs for your panel do. So make sure you put those in the locked position. All right, make sure they are fully closed as well, as it could impact your readings. And then again, route this how you feel best appropriate. Once you have all of that wired, you're going to take your panel. I'd recommend just connecting the power first, and then you're going to want to go ahead and connect it to the Sense app on your phone. It'll do some provisioning. There will be a few steps, especially if you have solar. You have to start with your solar off so it can kind of get a calibration, and then you turn your solar on, and then once power is flowing, you'll hit a button to get it connected. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I actually changed the location from the bottom of my panel, which I thought would be a better install, to where I actually just routed all the cables up above my main breaker. Not super clean. I'll come back once I'm done kind of setting everything up and maybe clean up the wires a little bit. Throw on some zip ties. Just keep in mind that right there is live, and that's a lot of power right there. That's 175 amps. So that will do a lot of damage. So keep clear of those bus bars. Again, if you're uncomfortable, hire someone. I've worked with electric most of my life. I feel very comfortable working around this. I also know my limitations. But here's the two main CTs that hook onto the main. This is your main consumption monitoring. This will tell you the load of everything that is connected to this panel. If you watch my previous video, you'll remember that I pointed out that I actually have a sub panel here. So I have a 100 amp sub panel, and that's just because there wasn't enough breaker positions to install everything. This panel itself is actually fed from this 100 amp breaker right here. And because that 100 amp breaker is on this bus, those monitors will actually pull everything on that sub panel. Because I have a solar array, they're my consumption monitors, or sorry, my production monitors for the two wires that are going to my solar inverters. That comes down here and comes into this 50 amp breaker, which again is on the same bus, but I want to make sure I have dedicated production monitoring on my solar. All right, I got everything buttoned up. And that concludes this video. My next video will actually be diving into the app itself and how I use the app to track my consumption, my production, and also the ability to monitor your peak in real time. So if you'd like to see that video, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It should be coming out shortly. Thanks.